Welcome, Christian Metal Group community. My name is Jimmy Sarles. We have Jay Goodwin here. We are part of the leadership team for the Christian Metal Group. And today we're with Derek Corzine, who is a producer and a multi-musician, played in many bands. How you doing today, Derek?
Doing well, doing well. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you here. So we always like to start with a couple basic stuff. Tell us about kind of growing up. Did you grow up in a religious home?
Yeah, so when I was real young, we went to a Baptist church. Um, but it wasn't until probably about junior high, like seventh grade or so, um, whenever I started going to an Assembly of God church. And I met my best friend there, and he introduced me to Christian metal. And
Oh yeah. What was the
I
first
always
one you remember?
was that
What was the first one that you remember?
first one was I remember the first song I heard was "Raise the Chalice" from Mortification.
Oh
Oh wow,
wow. Well,
that's a nice little
right.
They were playing it in the youth group.
That's
yeah.
pretty awesome. Yeah, like my introduction, we're talking like, DC Talk Newsboys, and then I worked my way up into POD and Tourniquet and all that. Yeah. So also, so did you grow up in a musical home?
Sort of. So both of my sisters were pretty musical. Neither of my parents were.
Okay.
And both of my sisters could play multiple instruments, but as band instruments. I had one sister, she played a lot of brass instruments, and then the other one played a lot of woodwinds.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, very cool. So, when did you start playing? Like, what was your first instrument? How about that?
The very first instrument I played was tuba.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in sixth grade. Yeah.
How long did you play tuba?
All through high school.
Oh wow. So how many instruments do you play? What was your last instrument, though? No, I'm just playing. No, no. How many instruments do you play,
It
though?
was the guitar, man.
Yeah, there we go. Guitar.
Yeah, if I had one, I'd do it. No, so mainly it's guitar, bass, drums, keys.
Mhm.
So those are kind of my main instruments. But before that, like I played tuba, baritone, trumpet, trombone.
So you can just play everything. I mean, what about a oboe? Did you play
So
oboe?
could not do reed instruments.
Okay.
Could never do it. Don't know why.
So got it. Derek plays everything.
I couldn't try to play any of that stuff now except for just the main guitar and all that stuff.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's awesome. What's your favorite instrument? Which one are you most proficient at?
Most proficient is guitar because I'm a lead guitarist. And, yeah.
I see him hanging up there behind you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's your baby?
Oh, hold on, let me show you.
There we go. Nice.
Somehow I felt you were gonna pick that one up, man. It looks
Yeah, right.
amazing.
Yeah.
That one got the Alpha and Omega inlay on it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
8-string, got a tremolo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this was custom built for me by Halo Guitars.
Oh wow.
Yep, and I had an endorsement with them back in 2008, 2009.
Cool.
So anyway, I actually just renewed an endorsement with them, so they're about to start building me another one.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you said thank you and please. All right.
Right. So, as far as metal is concerned, was extreme metal like the first thing you were introduced to with metal?
Yeah, so some of the early stuff, like I think as far as Christian metal, like whenever I first started learning it,
Mm-hmm.
I think "Raise the Chalice" was actually the first song that I learned to play as far as like super extreme metal.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I started on like old Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
I learned all of the first albums.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah, so I did that. I learned that. I learned Living Sacrifice, like from the Inhabit album. I learned
Mhm.
the entire first album, the self-titled.
Okay.
Yeah, I played the entire Scrolls of the Megaloth. I learned the entire Primitive Rhythm Machine album.
Hmm.
Um, like Betrayal, the Old Sacrament stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, Betrayal,
So
that was some good
I learned
stuff.
all that stuff.
That's awesome.
All the old Deliverance albums, like the first three albums, I learned pretty much all of those at one
Yeah,
point.
you have to be like a beast to like be able to pick out a lot of that stuff. I
So
mean,
so
especially
you did.
what you said.
I was gonna say you didn't learn What a Joke, man.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, you learned that one too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's already like genius level. I mean, I think about, of course, I don't play guitar, but I think about those albums and like some great stuff on those albums for sure. But then at the same time, some of the production is kind of like, you know, it's just like early '90s Christian production. So
Mhm.
sometimes some of those riffs are a little bit harder to pick out, you know.
Mhm.
But no, that's great. Very classic stuff, of course.
Yeah.
Very classic. So at some point, you decided to work with bands. What was your first band that you worked with?
So the first band that I worked with that I had nothing to do with, like I
Mhm.
wasn't in the band or did anything with the band. I think was probably Your Chance to Die.
Nice.
Okay.
I think
Hmm.
I might be wrong, but that's the earliest one that I can remember. Like as far as like whenever I started doing music production as a serious thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And that before you started a band or after?
Oh no, this was in like 2016, I
Oh,
Oh,
think.
okay.
So somewhere it wasn't super long ago, but that was
yeah.
probably the first
Okay.
big
Interesting. I know you did. I remember the first time I met you was definitely Cornerstone. It had to be in like the early 2000s, and you were subbing, if I'm not
That'll be
mistaken.
2007.
Yeah, you were doing some subbing for Alethian.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that was in
That
2000.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was insane. By the way, I'll never forget those shows, man.
That
Never.
was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that whole tour was a lot of fun. We toured with Becoming the Archetype.
Oh,
Yeah.
They were
wow.
the main thing. So it
Nice.
was us and Becoming the Archetype, and then another band called Neocracy.
Hmm.
Uh, played a few shows. I think I think maybe War of Ages did some shows with it. I can't remember if they did or not.
It all runs together after a while, right?
Oh yeah, I know that was a long time ago, but
But
you know,
so I know your first band was Whisper from Heaven, right? And then you went into Syringe. Just kind of give us a little no?
No, Syringe was my first band.
Okay. So
okay,
then
okay.
Whisper. So give us kind of the history of how all that got started and everything.
Yeah, so Syringe was like right when I got out of high school, and this was 2000.
Okay.
And so I ended up meeting the drummer at a Christian bookstore, and I can't remember. Like I was wearing a Christian band shirt, and I think he was too, and so we
And
just started
y'all
talking
were
to each
both
other.
looking at Striper albums and not Sandy Patty, so you were like, "Hey, wait a minute."
You
Right.
know, yeah, we're both in the in the metal section, and what was it? Yeah, we just started talking. We hit it off real quick, and yeah, both found out we both really liked Tourniquet, and he could play all the Tourniquet stuff, and like
Okay.
he could play just like Ted Kirkpatrick. He
Wow.
was
Mm.
um where I didn't know that at the time, and so the first song that we ever decided to learn, we're like, okay, let's play together. Okay, let's learn Psychosurgery. That was the first song we learned, and so that was first thing we played on was that, and then we did I think we did another one off Arc of Suffering. I think we played that one, and then once we actually got a full band together, we ended up playing Immunity Vector, the
Mm.
instrumental, playing that live a few times.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
that was fun.
That was a great song. Such an underrated album too. Just
So how long was Syringe around before you started Whispers from Heaven?
So we were around for I want to say about 4 years, maybe five.
Nice. Was that in Texas?
Yeah,
And
in West Lubbock, Texas. That's where we were based out of.
what style of music was that?
So we're kind of like progressive death thrash metal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of Tourniquet influence, a lot of Living Sacrifice influence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it was like, yeah, there was a lot of mixture of like thrash and death metal, and but a lot of melody behind it.
I think those are good influences.
Yeah, extol influence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
of course.
So
So, but yeah, so we were, yeah, so we did that from, yeah, from about 2000 to about 2004, 2005 is kind of when everything kind of fizzled out a little bit. And, yeah, and then I started during that time I started writing a lot of the music for, or a couple songs for what would eventually become Whisper from Heaven. Um, and originally it was just more Death Doom because I was like really into Paramecium and Scalia,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So it was just kind of, that was kind of the more the focus at that point. And then later on adding female vocals into it, and then
Yes.
kind of turned into something else for a little bit.
Yeah.
But
And how
but
long was that band active?
full circle now. It's Crown and Sorrow is what that was.
Oh, okay. So how long
Mm-hmm.
was that band active before that changed?
Well, Whisper from Heaven was only ever active for like actually active for like a year ish.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
So, and that was in 2014.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
think so. That was yeah, years later, because before that I was playing with Bloodline Severed and Alathian, and yeah, and so then I left Bloodline Severed. We're gonna try to start Whisper from Heaven, and then that just never ended up working out like it needed to. So
I love some Bloodline Sever, man. That's some good albums there. Big fan.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Man, that's super cool. So after that, at what point did you decide to start doing like, Crown and Sorrow, and was it Burial Extraction, you say?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so there for a little bit, I kind of went through like a period of pretty severe depression.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was about 2016 on, and I didn't touch guitar for nearly 2 years.
Well, so for other people that are maybe going through something like that, what helped you get through it?
So I mean, I did a lot of praying for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
um, yeah, and a lot of it was just things I was going through at the time.
Right, right.
And but yeah, it was a struggle just trying to get out of the situation I was in, and just
Mm-hmm.
trying to push through it, and
Man.
but yeah, and then I decided to pick up the guitar again and start writing music, and that really helped. And yeah, and that's kind of when I started like continuing writing for Crown and Sorrow, because it's real, I was in a depressed kind of state,
Yeah.
pretty sad, and so so I was writing doom metal.
So was the writing cathartic for you though?
Oh, very much. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Music
Yeah.
brings everyone together and heals all the wounds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Absolutely.
Yeah. I did that, and I sat down and listened to a lot of music.
So you did,
So,
yeah. So you did Crown and Sorrow, and then when did Bloodthirsty come into that?
so Bloodthirsty has been actually in existence. Okay, so technically you could probably say Bloodthirsty was my first music.
Oh wow. Okay.
Me and my best friend started that in the late 90s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so some of the songs on that first album were written in like 97, 98, something like that.
Oh
Wow.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
but
you
I didn't
remember.
actually get to an actual project like to be recorded and all that stuff until 2014, I think, is when I put out the first one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if you remember, I won a T-shirt and a CD, which
I remember that.
yeah, I still wear the T-shirt and listen to the album. So yeah, that was awesome. It was like an online contest or whatever. That was good stuff.
I won.
With Middle Helm, I think.
That sounds right.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Memories, man. I definitely, I have that stuff for
What
sure.
was the name of that album? River.
Sanguine River Absolution.
There we go. Yes. That one.
which,
That's the one I have.
which translates to the blood of Christ washes away our sins.
I had
So
no idea.
The Sanguine River, this is the Red River, which is Christ's blood.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which is forgiveness of sins.
Yeah. No, I did not know that.
And then you had an instrumental album too, right? That was your solo album, right?
Yeah.
And there was like some kind of codes or something like that that you had.
Yeah, so that one's all written around Morse code,
Yeah.
which, if you're familiar with like military or whatever, it's, you got dots and dashes, and they all arrange in a certain way to form letters. And musically you can turn that into rhythms, you can turn that into notes, chord progressions, or whatever. And so basically what I'll do is I would write out just a small section of lyric and see what the Morse code looks like, and then figure out how I'm going to play that.
What made you want to do that or get interested in that?
So history on that. So my father was an elected sheriff. So I grew up in a law enforcement family, and the radio towers where I lived, they would emit a Morse code signal every hour, couple hours, however long it is. There was one time I was listening to this Morse code signal. I was like, hey, that'd be pretty cool to go play that. And I would literally, I was living at home at the time, and I went into my room and started playing what I just heard, like, ja-ja-ja-ja-ja-ja.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
pretty interesting.
I love it. I love it.
So, but yeah, I recorded a solo album under Cosignes, which is the European version of my last name, which is Dutch. And I did that, and the drums sounded like butt, and production was not that great. And and then of course years later, I'm like, okay, my production skills are way better than what they were. I want to re-record the whole thing. So
you're saying
I redid all the guitars on it except for the guitar solos, and just remixed it and released it under my name.
So are you saying you invented butt rock? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Butt metal.
Yeah, come on. No. But no, man, actually what this really means is that you're insane. You're a genius, basically. And
That's right.
Yeah, that's what that really is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you though, to whom much is given, much is required,
Very true.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, I've got so many ideas, and I don't ever have enough time to do any of it.
I can relate, trust me. Yeah. So how many different genres have you worked in?
Oh man.
Ooh. Well, of course, there's metal and all different forms of metal, just, thrash, gothic metal.
Like that's enough, right?
You just all of that. And then on top of that, doing like worship, classic rock, country, ska. I played in a ska band for about 2 seconds.
Oh, really?
I don't like it. Yeah, so I've done like even classical music. I've recorded a composer whenever I lived in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
recorded a guy out there, and he was a composer, and he had a violinist and a pianist in there. So I recorded one of his compositions, and that was pretty cool.
Wow, so that's pretty diverse portfolio. That's cool.
Yeah, it really is, man. It really is. Yes. I just remembered I had this right here.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to be diverse.
Yeah, it's super diverse.
We interviewed Travis Wyrick, and it was like, yeah, he's worked with everybody from Dolly Parton to Disciple, just all over the place. So that's really cool.
Yeah, he's a great producer.
Yeah, speaking of Travis, of course you got into production, of course, with your own stuff, but now you have a studio and you've been recording different people. So what's that like? What influenced you to get into that? And yeah, let me start.
So what got me into it is, mainly wanting to hear my own stuff. It's like I would write music, and some of the music would be pretty complex, but the only way I'd be able to hear it back and know if it sounded okay was if I had a way to kind of record it. So I've been doing that from Syringe, the early days of Syringe on, just just for my own stuff so I can hear it back. And we released some old, really cruddy sounding demos back in the day.
That's
But
fun.
yeah, that's how I got started.
So
Yeah.
your own music was your test
Yeah.
on production, and then yeah, I mean that's very similar to how Travis got into it as well. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah. So you said you've been producing for close to about 10 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as like professionally, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know I've looked up some of the bands you worked with or you've been in or associated with. So Bloodthirsty, Crowned in Sorrow, obviously we talked about those. Syringe, Bloodline Severed. Actually, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Quester.
Quester. Uh-huh.
Okay. And then Cosyns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
Cosign.
his.
Yeah, that's my solo project.
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
that's the Morse code group right there.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
that got renamed to something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solarin. That's
Solarian, that was
Solarian.
another one of those things where I've got too many ideas, and
Yeah.
so eventually I'm going to get that going again. It's probably going to be under a different name, but that one is like a sci-fi progressive power metal.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow. That's interesting. Okay. Whispers from Heaven, Elysium, we mentioned Enzo and the Glory Ensemble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's from Italy, and he's put out 3 albums, and so I've done a little bit with him, and he's got big names on his stuff, like the guy from Orphan Land, Primal Fear, Marty Friedman.
Oh wow.
That's
Yeah.
super awesome.
He's got some cool stuff.
And you
on
work
his
with Pastor Brad,
Yeah, I've done a couple songs for him.
Vials of Wrath, and Scarlet Oath. So I mean, you got quite a list. What are some other bands that you've worked with and that you're a part of that maybe everybody don't know about?
Well, so one of the newer ones right now is Raining Locusts, and that's me and Roy from Scarlet Oath,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really super technical, like technical death metal, progressive-y. I mean, like I'm playing fretless bass and guitar on that, and then he's doing drums and vocals.
Okay. Wow. Nice.
So it's pretty crazy, but yeah, there's one song out on Bandcamp, and it's the Karen Collective.
Okay.
So they've got one song out right now. So far we've got 2 songs. There's should be 3 more in the works. But
And what's the name of that band?
Raining Locusts.
Raining Locusts. Okay. Any others that you're involved with?
That's crazy. Coming soon. How about that?
I know, right?
I gotta look over.
He can't remember. He's in so many.
I know it. Yeah.
I keep a checklist of some of my production stuff, so I'm like, because where I'm at.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. There was a woman. There was a group that's like a metal band fronted by a young lady, like a young black lady. I cannot remember the name of that band, but I remember you producing some stuff for them. Name.
Okay. So there was a band in North Carolina called Death of August.
Yes, that's the one. That's who it is.
Yeah, and so there's two girls, and so they're basically the main people in the band.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one's Helena Radeva, and she's
yes,
I think she's Bulgarian actually, descent. And then Amira, and she's the other. But they're both guitarists and they both shred.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're amazing.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about them.
So they were a lot of fun. That was the last band that I recorded before I moved to Texas.
Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing them like a while back, and then I found that you actually were doing some work with them. I was like, wow, that was a very interesting connection, you know?
Yeah, they were good. Yeah, because I ended up meeting Helena at a guitar center in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we were just became friends ever since, and yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you go to a lot of their shows, and I mean they always put on a good show, and they're great, good people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't forget the latest announcement was you became the official vocalist, right, for Testimony of Apocalypse.
Yep.
So we interviewed those guys before the last album dropped, and they're a lot of fun. So what's it like working with them?
Oh yeah, they've been great. It's really cool. Working with like Paul because he was from Sacrament.
Yeah.
And I was a big Sacrament fan way back in the day. So it was
Yeah.
that was really cool. Super nice guys. I really like the music, and it's been a lot of fun. And I actually just got done recording bass for the first song that I'm recording on right now for the new album.
So you're
And I
technically
just
you're
finished it
basing.
before I got on this call.
Are you're bass and vocalist or?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. I love it. That's crazy. So, of course, I think one of the things that you post about the most in our group, the Christian Metal group, is like your church. And you're playing, sometimes you're playing guitar, sometimes you're playing bass, sometimes you're playing drums. That's insane.
Yeah. All at the same time? Like
Right, exactly. I know. Yeah, he just has a setup around the drums. He's
I
like,
was
okay,
this close to playing bass and keys at the same time one time.
wow.
I've done it before, so I understand.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, I've done that before too. So I
I
was wanting to do
get
it,
it.
but the guy that was running sound, he's also a keyboard player as well. So he just jumped in last minute.
Hmm. Yeah, sometimes it'd be like that for sure. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Repping Christian metal in that kind of way.
Mhm.
Um, but one thing you've always done is like kind of show what t-shirts you got. So you have like obviously quite an extensive t-shirt collection, even among like all the people that post like t-shirts in the group. I mean, did that come from just being on the road and did people just seeing you shirts now and be like, hey, yo, where's the church?
Right? So what's pretty cool is that the church that I go to, so in the early 2000s when I was playing with Syringe, we used to play up in Amarillo, Texas, which is where I live now. And this church used to put on metal shows,
Oh, nice.
Nice.
and that's kind of how we got hooked up with it. And when me and my wife moved to Amarillo, it was like, okay, where are we going to go to church? And I remembered this place, so I looked it up, and of course they had changed locations since then. I was like, I don't know if this is the right place or not, but we'll go. We'll check it out, and yep, started talking to people. Okay, yep, same place.
So what's the name of the church?
Pinnacle Community Church.
So there you go. If you're in Amarillo, Texas, go check out Pinnacle Community Church.
Yeah.
So they obviously they support metal missionaries, huh?
Yeah, so
That's
yeah,
awesome, man. That's
we've got quite a few metalheads that go to the church, so
that's
it's
really
Awesome.
cool.
yep.
Awesome. What's the kind of music that they do there at the church and for the actual
We
service?
do a lot of like contemporary worship stuff. A lot of it's like kind of rock driven,
You're right.
but yeah, a lot of the popular contemporary
Chris
worship.
Tomlin type of stuff, Hillsong maybe.
Yeah,
Do you ever slide a little double bass in on there without them?
always.
Always.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
double
yeah.
pedal
I
Jesus
mean,
metal.
I do. I bring my double kicks when I play drums. So,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
and I'm always doing something. But like if we have and I think one of them that we're playing, like I'm playing drums this Sunday, and
Mhm.
I think one of them is like one where I can put a lot of double bass on.
That's awesome.
It's and they like it.
Yeah,
I love that, man.
that's good stuff, man. So, tell us one thing about yourself that maybe nobody watching this might know. Like, do you have a hidden talent? Do you have like a law degree? What's something that it would be kind of surprising?
Well, what a lot of people don't know is I'm actually a graphic artist.
Okay,
That's actually what I do for a living.
nice. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I work right now. I work in the food industry. But
Okay.
and specifically the grocery industry. But I've worked in the travel industry. Used to be the editor of a newspaper, and I hate reading.
Oh,
That's funny.
But what's funny though is because I'm picky about spelling and grammar, and you
Yeah.
know apostrophes in the correct place. So I was a pretty good editor.
yeah. So, so do
Absolutely.
you also do album artwork and stuff? Have you done that before?
Yeah, well, actually, on all of my stuff, like I've done all my own album artwork.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't really done it for anyone else.
So, like, you haven't, it's really not a service you offer for bands that you are producing.
No, just because like I'm doing it like you know
So much.
working with graphics day in day out, and
Yeah, that
it's
makes sense.
something that takes a lot of time.
Mm.
And
Makes sense.
and it's I'm so busy with doing music production that I don't even offer that.
Yeah, you sound like Jason Sherlock on that one. Like he
There
does
you
a
go.
lot of what you're doing with graphics for different companies.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
his artwork's great.
Yeah, is he freelance?
No, he works with a company. He got a new job recently, but he had been working with this company. I remember we just totally random, but I mean, just like you saying, it reminded me of like we went in the gas station, like when I was in Australia a few years ago, and he was like, I did the artwork on this. It was like some uh like washing fluid or something for cars or something, it's like, yeah, I did the artwork for this, like
Ah,
oil and you know,
really?
yeah, man. So it's interesting. I mean, it is interesting that there are so many because we've interviewed a few people and that are into graphics.
Mm-hmm.
I would say on the side, but obviously it's like music is on the side.
Yeah.
Music is the thing that's on the side. So that's.
If I can make music full time, I'll do that.
I know it's right, man. We gonna pray for that one day that it happens. I think you're so talented, man. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, we've spent so much time talking about like all the stuff you've done, and like everything that you've done, like all the music you've done is on such a high level, and I think that's it's important first of all, but it's also super commendable because there's like I said, there's a lot of people that are in bands and a lot of bands and stuff, and it's very much hit or miss. And you have
Yeah.
to kind of guess with some people, like, is this gonna be is this gonna be
Yeah.
a dope album or is it gonna be doo doo or or what is it gonna be?
For me, it's like when I'm working on mixing an album, I've got it's got to be something that I could listen to day in and day out, like
Mhm.
production wise.
Mm-hmm.
Even if even if it's a band where I don't really care for the music as much, but as
Right.
production wise, if it's something that I can pull up next to anything and be cool with, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool stuff. I mean, like I said, it is important, man, because your name like on things for sure. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's I hate to say it in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways there is definitely a certain expectation that comes with like putting your name on stuff. It's a brand, I guess.
Oh, we doing
Yeah.
it for Jesus. It ain't gotta sound good.
Oh Lord, yeah, the brand is Jesus.
No, that's why it needs to sound good.
Right. Hey, that's it right there, man. Like, the
That
Lord.
that would work too. I've seen some where it's like, the production on the album might be pretty good, but the artwork looks like a high schooler did it.
Yeah, dude, that is so true. And I know that especially happens in the underground with like a lot of the extreme music. It's like,
Oh
whoa.
yeah.
Even the outfits, like stuff like, clothes, like
Yeah.
like especially like some of the like underground unblack bands, it's like
You gotta think some of that's on purpose the way they do though. I don't think.
oh yeah, some of it is like you almost have to be low budget for yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody, a lot of people definitely take after that, like Burzum or whatever. And like
Yeah.
everything has to sound like it's in a, we're singing out of a trash can or we're singing out of a what do you call it? Just a can of, vegetables or something. Oh my God,
Just
green.
don't just don't bring in the Lars trash can drum.
Oh, right. There we go. There we go. Oh, wow. So,
So,
even with drumming, how many hours have you played drums on? Just, I
Oh,
mean, because I was just playing guitars a lot, but how many hours you play drums?
as far as what I've actually played drums on, probably 4 or 5 albums now, I
Mhm.
think.
okay.
As far as I can remember, because I've done like more rock albums too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if let's see, here's a fun one. What band would you tour with? Like if say you was Crowned in Sorrow or something, I know you'd have to have put together a band or whatever, but say you're going on tour and a band said, "We want you on tour." Who would you drop everything you're doing to go on like a month long tour with? What band would that be?
Big Soul.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
In the Christian metal realm,
Yeah,
it would definitely be them. They're like my
Top tier.
favorite Christian extreme metal band of all time.
for
Yeah,
sure.
same
Well,
here.
what about a secular band?
Secular band, it would be Oh man, it's kind of a hard one.
Yeah.
Well, Dream Theater is probably one of my favorites, but
Nice.
as far as like sticking with something that would be compatible, um, I'd say something like Swallow the Sun.
Hmm.
Like they're probably one of my favorites, like Death
Yeah,
Doom.
I'm not
Yeah,
familiar with them.
I've
Yeah.
heard them. I think I've may have heard a few songs by them. But yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. Who's your favorite drummer for Dream Theater?
Uh-oh.
Well, I like Portnoy.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
yeah, he's my favorite. For Dream Theater, but Mike Mangini is so phenomenal, and
dude.
I've got another good friend, and he was he went to Berkeley, and Mangini was actually his instructor
Oh,
over
nice.
there.
I know that was crazy.
Yeah, and so he's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
I think as far as who could probably do more stuff, I'd probably put Mangini over Portnoy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think as far as like musicality and feel, and especially for Dream Theater, I would
Hmm.
definitely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good. So
that
are you do you dig the new Flesh Killer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I got the album too. I loved it.
that's amazing. That album, of course, that might be my favorite extreme metal album that Ula's done, honestly. That and of course Burial also, but I would say after Burial, I would say Flesh Killer.
I
Uh,
want
yeah, I
how
thought it was awesome that my friend Elisha got to do the vocals on that. That
Yeah,
was
oh yeah, Elijah is
that's
doing
cool.
some amazing stuff, man.
Are
But yo,
you a Ula fan or just an Extol fan?
Ula.
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so are you like his stuff he did when he was a kid and a teenager too?
Mhm.
So
How big of
I
a
think
fan are you?
that was interesting. Oh, I've heard some of his other stuff too, like his like
Soul
punk.
stuff, yeah.
Dude he's got such an amazing range and different, he can do it all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly
I was a fan of Aaliyah before Extol,
right.
and
It's like, yeah.
yeah, and then I heard Extol, and
Yeah,
that was
that's how it was with me. I heard Northern Lights, that compilation.
yep.
And everybody was on like Stoves on there, like Brooms, and it was like one other band too.
Was
And
was
it was,
Ethereal Scourge on that one?
huh?
Was Ethereal Scourge on that one? I don't remember if
No,
they
no,
were on.
that was the one before that. That was Australia. Actually, that was the second one. That was Ethereal Scourge was on the second metal compilation. Northern Lights was the fourth one, and yeah, like I said, it was that was the other band. It was what I said. I just said their name. It was Ancestors.
Ancestor.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
heck of a lineup, man. That's how I got introduced to all high
Well,
level.
look at Jay bringing out some deep cuts right there.
Oh yeah, man. Dude, those all those bands changed my life,
We'll
man.
make the kids watching this go to do it. They're gonna have to go look these bands up and check them out.
Yo, yeah, exactly, man. Everybody needs to check that stuff out. Dude, you said
Yeah.
the thing that what you said about Portnoy a little bit ago, it definitely goes back to what I was saying about having a brand and having a signature sound, yo.
Yeah.
Because, and people having a certain expectation of you and a band. It's like um Portnoy, he definitely, it's all definitely about that particular feel.
Mhm.
But one thing I do is I listen to Mike Mangini's like I listen to a lot of the live albums, especially the heavier stuff. I love his approach to like songs like A Nightmare to Remember,
Yep.
Mm.
So
or
I really liked his when he was playing with Steve Vai.
oh yeah.
Like, so that's kind of what I knew about him was when he was on tour with him, and just the stuff he would do was insane.
Yeah, another Steve Vai drummer that I just love, of course, is Virgil Donati.
Yeah.
So did you check out his stuff with Steve Vai? Like,
Oh, yeah, I've got the Live at the Astoria DVD.
yes, that's the one.
Oh, that's so good.
Man, that's one we really need to do. Like,
And
Chris,
the stuff that Virgil Donati's in, like Planet X and
yeah,
that,
Planet X is
like
Dude,
all the
I
jazz. I love that stuff.
I have some Planet X albums and I discovered them just in a record store. Like I didn't know. I was like, "What is this, man? This looks awesome!" And I think I got all their albums, or at least two of them now.
yeah,
Yeah. So
dude, that's it's the gold standard to me. Like,
Yeah.
for jazz influenced metal, it's all instrumental, of course, but
have you,
man,
have you heard Exvius?
I have not. I have to check them out.
You need to check them out. It's so they're fusion, but they're like heavy fusion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is very good stuff. It's
Oh,
yeah, so it's all like fretless bass and it's yeah, they're
man.
so
Oh
good.
yeah.
The drummer from Textures,
Mm-hmm.
and the guitarist and bassist, they both play with Cynic for a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Cynic was hilarious live because they would be like, "All right, everyone, let's just chill," and they like bust out this really heavy music, but they're so mellow.
Yeah,
But
I saw them open up for I think it was Between the Buried and Me, and I think it was
yes,
officially
I saw that tour too.
it was Cynic, Devin Townsend, and Between the Buried and Me.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah,
Oh,
saw that tour.
so
interesting.
that was a good show.
That was yeah, one of my favorite shows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was insane. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we really had to do like something like in the Christian scene that's kind of like that. Just because. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so and what I was saying about Exvius, the project that I'm a part of called Raining Locusts,
Hmm.
that's probably my big influence is that band. So there's a lot of just really crazy bass lines and guitar lines, and
Hmm.
yeah, the whole thing's pretty nuts.
Yeah, you talked about fretless bass in extreme metal. Remember Absurd to the Second Power, whatever that band,
Oh,
the like Stole side project type of
oh,
thing. That I don't remember that bass player's name, but he was yeah,
yep. So
yeah,
that those kind of bass lines are kind of what I'm doing with Raining Locusts.
Oh, nice.
love it.
Looking forward to hearing that. But
Yeah.
what's been one of your favorite concerts, live shows you've ever seen?
Extol.
Of course. How many
So, I,
times have you?
so I've seen them 3 times.
Nice.
Um,
Well, I've
so
seen
the
like
first
one
time
more
I saw
time.
them
Yeah.
Yeah.
was yeah,
Gotta always one up.
yep.
No, man,
I've
that's
seen
cool.
them zero, so take that.
Yeah, exactly,
I
man.
wish I wish I could.
I saw them on the Undeceived tour.
Oh,
Yeah, I was about
nice.
to say when you see
Oh
them.
man, it was so good. It was like I think that was probably like the first like really good Christian extreme metal concert that I went to, and it was and it was in Fort Worth, which was 5 hours away from where I lived.
Yeah.
Which same thing now. It's like if I need to go to if I want to go to a really good show, I have to drive 5 or 6 hours
Oh,
to get
wow.
there.
Really?
Yeah,
What
so it's
what is
There's
up with the scene in your area?
yeah, there is none.
there's a
That's
local scene, and the local scene here is pretty good actually.
Oh,
but it's
I
not
mean,
metal.
it's all the same people, but there's packed out shows here all the
Mhm.
time.
oh,
But there's not really hardly any venues to play. It's
mm.
kind
Yeah.
of weird. And 2 hours south, there's some bigger shows that come down there. I know the main guy that does all the promoting down there, and he tries to bring some really good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. I have an industry question or whatever. Like what are your thoughts on like the way that the industry has changed? I know when you first started out, of course, everybody was like buying CDs and buying merch and things have changed so much. Everybody's downloading and it's like so many musicians are struggling very tragically.
Yeah,
Um, you
it's
know,
yeah, a lot of that. For when I started out, it was CDs, and but yeah, it's like there's so much that you can just download. Now it's like all streaming, so now it's like it's back then it's like you kind of like used to actively listen to music.
mhm.
Like you'd sit down with a physical copy and listen to it, enjoy it, and now it's like the market's just so saturated with just stuff that there's stuff everywhere, and you have to be memorable just to stick out, and
Mm,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Of course, like as far as like what musicians get paid now is severely diminished, and what record labels are and what they can do is that whole model has changed, and yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know a lot of bands that have become, I mean, pretty successful with the do it yourself, the booking, promotion, all of
Yeah.
it. He's kind of figuring it out using the technology. So along those same lines, do you have any thoughts on the AI created music and
Uh,
artwork? Because that's becoming more and more prevalent in our group and everything, which I mean, I guess it's to be expected, but I didn't expect it.
Yeah. So for me, it's like for AI type stuff, it's like I would have a hard time with coming up with something that's done with AI and then slapping your name on it like you created
Yeah,
on.
Right.
yeah. The
I have a hard time with
authenticity. Yeah,
that. I think using elements of AI in order to achieve some, as like a small something to enhance your overall goal. Um, for like I'm better with that. Like like for instance, like using like I'm a graphic artist, so using Photoshop. Um, so kind of how I use Photoshop is, I can find different pictures online or something. I might find certain elements of a picture that I like, and I can take like a small part of this picture and kind of manipulate it into what my vision is. And it's kind of, and by the time I'm done with it, it's like you can't tell that this picture was ever a part of it.
yeah,
If that makes sense. Um, I think maybe using like elements of AI to get like a texture or
yeah.
you know so something like that. Like I'm more okay with stuff like that. Um, Music wise, now I know that here lately I've seen I guess people that are like posting music that's done with AI. I
Yeah.
like I honestly I
Not a
won't even.
fan. Yeah, I
I was
think
like,
if we know it
why do
is
you do with it? I'm like, I don't even want to hear it.
the leadership in the group, I think we've been deleting them, right, Jay?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I mean, who gets credit for that? And it's not even, all you do is type in, "Hey, make me a song that says sounds like this and this," and I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
Insanity.
yeah, and I've never like done like research as far as like how the music part is done. Like I've seen how like a lot of the art stuff is done, and you can come up with some pretty interesting stuff with it.
Mm.
so now a band can send you a track, and you just say, "Hey, produce this for me," and then you send it back to them, right?
Something like that.
There we go. How about that? That's great. Okay, so obviously the majority, if not, I mean, all the bands I think that you've been involved with, um, like personally, they haven't been for hire, especially, have been Christian bands. Um, how important is it for you to, I guess, work with Christian bands, represent Christ, and then even, do you consider those bands Christian bands? I know the content is Christian, but yeah, like let's uh let's discuss that.
Yeah, so that kind of depends on what your definition of a Christian band is.
Okay.
So for me, it's like usually what I would consider a Christian band would be a band that is actively doing it as ministry.
Mhm.
Um, Other than that, if they just sing about Christ or whatever, they're Christians in a band, obviously.
Mhm.
The music is music. They created the music, but ultimately God is who's the creator of everything. So, um, but yeah, so a lot of the stuff that I get sent to mix or to play on has been primarily, from Christian artists or faith-based artists.
Right.
Um, a lot of the people that I've done locally um, are secular artists.
Mhm.
Okay.
So and there's been like a few times where like I'll post something and because of course I always post like who I'm working with and
Right.
what I'm doing in the studio that day or whatever. And had one, it was a pretty extreme metal band here in Amarillo, and their lyrics are very horror based and pretty
Yeah.
brutal and gory.
Love it.
And and I had a guy, like when I first started, he was like, "Is this a Christian band?" I'm like, "Nope, they're not." So if you look at their lyrics, you will know very quickly. So, but
Good.
I don't. They hired me to do a job, and
Right. Right.
it's like I love their music. Music's great. I may not agree with the lyrics, but they're great people to work with, and
Yeah.
I mean I'll hang with them. They're good guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man.
awesome.
See them out at the shows, and yeah.
Man, yeah.
it's a good it's a pretty good community here, like as far as like the metal scene.
Mhm.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
been I was pleasantly surprised when I moved here because I thought there was gonna be nothing.
So,
Uh,
what are maybe your top three favorite bands that are newer, like within 5, maybe 10 years, like newer bands that hadn't been around for 15, 20 years?
Hmm, that's kind of a hard one.
I know it always is.
'Cause you're
So when
yeah, and play.
I don't know how new they are, but there's a band that's called Zierler.
Okay, not familiar with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not very well known, but the people that play for them are flipping awesome.
Okay.
They're really good. So it's got Per Nilsson from Scar Symmetry, um, Bobby Jarzenbeck from like Spastic Inc. and he played with Fates
Oh,
Warning and stuff.
yeah.
He's crazy drummer.
Yes.
But
Yep.
yeah, it's like progressive, very heavy, symphonic. Yeah,
So
really
how
good.
now I got to go check them out. How do you spell that?
Zierler.
All
So
right.
they're just not Christian band or anything, but
Yeah.
like they're
Right.
not like anti-God or anything. Not that I can
Yeah.
see.
Awesome. And
So,
any others that you can think of?
Flesh Killer for sure.
Oh yeah.
Right. Of course.
Um,
I guess we'll count them as new. I mean, they are a new band. I'm joking, but
yeah, newer-ish. I
no,
say
but
the problem too is that now it's like I'm working with music so much that I don't really hear a lot of new stuff that just comes out
sure.
unless I'm working.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of hard.
I'll tell
Oh,
you
cool.
one that I've been digging is Holy Name. Have you listen to them?
I haven't heard any of their stuff. I know the name.
Yeah. They're what are they? Roman Catholics or something, right?
Right.
Jay?
Right. They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget, but a lot. They're a very popular band in the
But
group.
there's some heavy worship, not like extreme, but heavy worship music, which I like, that I dig it. So
So okay, so and then on that one, I will say that um, okay, so the other band that I just got done mixing, and they're getting ready to release something in July, but Motivic.
okay. Yeah.
I love that album.
So you've been
It's
working with them? That's awesome.
like that's yeah. So I had the opportunity to mix that album, and the music is really good. Like
I was
for me, that's like album of the year
always
for me.
wondered where their name, the band name came from.
Don't know. You have to ask Ryan Roebuck.
Well, we may have to get them on here and do that. Actually, I think
You should. He's a good
we
guy.
talking to them, Jay?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're going to be scheduled. Well, we're scheduling them. We've got a bunch lined up, and it's hard to remember
Hmm.
all of them. But yeah, we will find out. Stay tuned.
That's right.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, their stuff like really reminded me of like Old Believer,
Okay.
Testament.
Nice.
Really hard hitting, good, really good vocals, good production. Yeah,
Love it.
really good stuff.
I hope it's got good production.
Yeah, no, I mean as far as like the music and the arrangements,
No,
kind
I
of
know.
the way it was
Just give me a
recorded.
hard time.
No, that's cool. That's cool. No, I'm with it. Man, that's yo. So I guess I really just have one final question, honestly. And that is, what is your favorite thing about being a Christian?
Hmm. For me, it's kind of like it's knowing that there's a God that's much bigger than all of this that you can turn to, that He's got your back no matter what.
That's good.
Um, in your time of need, you can turn to Him. Um, when you're celebrating, you can turn to Him, and He'll celebrate with you. And it's He's there for your victories, and He's there for your hurts.
That's good.
That's
So,
amazing.
what can the Christian metal community do to help support you as a musician, producer, whatever?
Well, the big thing for me is obviously buying bands merch. It's the best way that you can support the artist, buying physical copies.
Sounds like a running theme there, don't it, Jay? Comes up often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as me, it's like, I'm for hire. If
Yeah.
someone needs, an instrument played on an album, well, I can do that. If somebody needs their stuff mixed and mastered, I can do that. So
that's awesome.
Yes, pay the man double what he's charging.
and we'll discuss it and get it on the schedule.
Hey, and you can look at Derek's roster and you can see, I mean, he's definitely qualified. He puts out good material.
Super qualified. Man.
So, that's awesome. That's but what I'm saying about the running theme is like when we ask and they're like, man, if you buy merch because that the band gets that money, I've none time that I've asked this, I've never had somebody be like, man, go stream Spotify so we can get that Spotify check. Now, I mean, some of them say it does help. I mean, I say it does help get the music out and all, but
it does a little bit. At the end of the year, if there's enough, I mean, it helps a tiny bit. But,
I got $15.60. Yeah,
might get 16 if I get to Christmas.
Basically, like for me, it's like I make just enough to keep it on there, and it pay for itself to stay on there.
Yeah,
because you have to pay a fee every year to have your music on there.
Do they pay out monthly or do they pay out yearly?
It depends on the service you're with.
Oh,
so the one that I'm with right now, it can kind of pay whenever I want to take a paycheck out of it.
Oh, gotcha. Interesting.
And I just leave it in there for the full year, and it pays for itself the next year.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, at least it's a break even. Yeah. Do you use services like DistroKid?
I use DistroKid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I used to use TuneCore for a little bit too, and that's what I started out with, and it starts out pretty good, but then after the first year, it's like their fees like double.
Oh no, yeah, DistroKid's what I use too for sure.
Nice.
And it's like that for every release that you want to upload, you have to pay for that release, and then the next year just about doubles.
A mess.
Whereas, DistroKid, it's like you have an artist and you can upload as much as you want, and it's one price a year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I like about it. As far as like digital distribution, that works.
Well, awesome. This has been great. I really appreciate it, man. Hope you have a great day, and we're looking forward to your new music coming out.
Yep, working on that. I'm working on some new Bloodthirsty.
Yes.
Sure. Yep, that's gonna be a lot of fun. So, yep, been working on writing that. So that's it's heavy.
So stay tuned for the new Derek Corzine music.